Hello, nice to meet you. Well, I am the host, Grandmaster Shin Jeong Im, who will guide you through the talk show today with Mongsang. Even though the time is very late, thank you very much for keeping your seats, and you will all succeed. I can confidently say that. Well, I think you have lots of excitement in the air. Let me first introduce the panelists who are with us today. First of all, the ATOMY's brand, ATOMY's leader, we have Chairman 박한길회장. Well, his is always highly praised. And next, if you don't succeed, it's a miracle. We have Imperial leader here with us. His name is Deokwoo. And of course, the brain of the ATOMY, we have the Crown Master Lim Byeong-gu. Well, today, on the road to your success, I think they will pave a highway. So let us start the talk show right away. First question is up right away. So, how can we succeed in a fast pace? So, at the early stage of ATOMY, this was what I thought as well. If I am going to join ATOMY, I will want to succeed. And if I am to succeed, I want to succeed fast. So, how can we succeed fast? Or how can we excel our speed of success? Well, it's hard to provide a simple answer. So what does fast mean? It has something to do with time. So how are we to manage the time, control time, utilize time? This notion should be set beforehand. So how fast would be regarded fast? Someone would say 10 years of ATOMY, while earning 2 million Korean won for 10 years. There would be someone who thinks that this is not slow at all. But there might be people who thinks that in 2 months, this is not worth it and give up. So, fast, slow, this is a relative term. So this should be agreed in the room. Fast or slow, how are we to measure this? Is measured by tool of the time. However, if we are to manage time, we have to manage life by managing time. So when we were at schools, what did we have in our tables? We had this round table, timetables, what time we will wake up, when we will take a shower, when we will eat, when we will study. We had this round timetable that we used. But were you able to manage your time well? Those who manage time well won't have needed the timeline, but those can't manage time well needed those time management tables, because we don't exactly know what time means. So let me ask you, what is time? As for me, about 15 years ago, when I first started this ATOMY business, I gave a thought on what time is and how can we measure this and reorganize this and utilize it in the best way. So I called this the time engineering and gave lectures about it. And that lecture Well, when I did that lecture, this Master Lim Byeong-gu was with me. I think I don't have to give the lecture, but I think it would be better to see the lecture that I gave at that time. So let's play the video. So what is time? What is time? Time is money. So if time passes, do you have money in your pocket? Some people just keep on getting interested after time passes. Time is what it is. Well, Aristotle said that it's something that you think that you can grasp, but it cannot be clearly described through words. So it's poetry. You guys know that you're not at Aristotle's level. So I think I know something, I just can't explain it. So Aristotle said that now we're in Newton's time. We go through the past, present, and flow into the future. That's the definition of Newton. Do you think it's been clear? Yeah, it from the past flows to the present and to the future. And now we have the modern physics father, Einstein. He said that past, present, the value of the present flows into the future and not sequel. It's jumbled. So the sun that we're looking at, from the earth, from the sun that we're looking at on earth, and the sun that we're looking at on earth is, well, when we see it from earth, is seen after 8 minutes in the past. So the sun that we're looking at now is 8 minutes in the future when we're looking at from the earth. So it starts, and there is a light that comes from the past. So 4 minutes from the past, and if it comes to the earth, it's from 4 minutes before future. So the past, present, future, it's jumbled all together, and also there are times that of past is before the future, so it's all mixed up. So time, it starts from the past to the present and the future. It's not a sequel thing, but it's a jumble. So I define it like this: there is no such thing as time. So that's why when you ask me what is time, I couldn't answer, because it doesn't exist. Now, if we are perceiving time, what is time that we perceive? We don't perceive, but we perceive events. What does this mean? When we talk about history, we talk about the prehistory, which is before the history existed. So when we talk about pre-existence of the history, when we say the history of the Korean Peninsula is 5,000 years old, but that's because of the dam that were artifacts were found 5,000 years ago. So we say we have 5,000 years of history, so that the artifact is something that we recognize. How about if an artifact was found 5,500 years ago? Then there will be a trace of the event. So we will have 500 years more. So if there's a trace on an event, there is time. And if there's no event, there's no time. So when we talk about the race trace of the kings, if there was no changes in the past, then there is no past as well.
So I could define time as events. The same goes for the terms of spirit or soul. Since we have the beginning and the end, we could define it as time, but if it doesn't have any beginning and the end, we could go into the eternal time. So when we manage the time, actually we cannot manage the time because there's nothing about time. So here, what we need to manage is the time, events, sorry. So from now on, let's talk about that. We are planning the time. Here, Actually, the thing that we need to plan is the events. What time, whom I meet, at which, and from where we will move. So all of these is planning the event itself. In order to manage the time properly, we need to manage the events well. And then that event could be bad or good. When there are only bad events, we could be a bad person. And when there are only good events, we could be a good person in my life. So, planning is all about what kind of event will be chosen by me. There is a book about this time planning. It says that there are some urgent events but not important. There is an event that is not important and not emergent, and there is an event that is important but not emergent. So he categorized the event into 4 different categories, and all of us are really good at managing the important and emergent things. For example, when your child leg is broken, it is really urgent and it is really important, so we are really good at managing this kind of event. But we are failing to manage the event which is not important but urgent. So normally we know that we manage a lot of events, but we couldn't remember it because it was not that much important. And this part is the most frequent happening one. For example, watching a soap opera, watching series. Actually, this is not that much important and not that much urgent, but we put a lot of time in managing these kind of events. It is not important, it is not urgent. Normally, these events are not important, so we cannot really remember what happened a year ago. And here, the event that is not urgent but important, we need to manage this event well and properly. These are, for example, writing down our life scenario. Of course, when we skip it today, it's not a matter, but it is still really important. And for example, we loving other people, loving others. It is also really important, but it is not that much urgent. So we tend to postpone this kind of events. When you are not in a good relationship with your family members, you don't really try to make a consensus with your family members, so the relationship got worse and worse. So these events are not that much urgent, but still really important, and we need to really good at managing this kind of events. Let's imagine that we become rich, we become successful with ATOMY. These are really important. These are all really important, but we sometimes don't think that it is really urgent, so we postpone and we delay this kind of event. So we only meet a few number of people every day. Don't think that when you are at a center, you are working. Even though you are in a center, it does not mean that you are working hard. Even though you're in a center, sometimes you don't sell a product, you don't introduce this business to other people. And normally, you only talk negative in the centers and you only do some hassles and you spend a whole day. But you didn't do any important task at the center. So, what is important is to understand what is the most important thing, and you need to put it at the most important priority. And you need to set the priority of these events. We need to live, love, and contribute, and these all are really important. Contribution, actually is really important. You don't need to underestimate it. You don't need to postpone managing the events. Although it is not that much urgent, but still it is really important. So that's why we need to start working on that. First of all, we need to choose what kind of event will be happening. You don't need to miss every single important task, and you need to put the priority of all of the tasks, and then all of the not important things will be naturally settled. Please remember this. There are 2 different concepts. First of all, you need to put the priority on the important events. Although it is not that much urgent, you need to put the most priority onto these important things. In order to be successful, You need to list down today. You need to have a list of 50 people, and then you need to always hold the list of 250 people, and at least to 20 people you need to call, and at least 5 people you need to meet, and you need to sell a product every day. And these are the very important tasks, and you need to cherish this kind of important events. Although it doesn't affect your daily living, if you don't sell a product, you need to stick to it, and you need to do all the best to settle that important task. You need to understand that that's the most important thing in your life. Because if you start to delay this kind of event, it will be snowballed. So managing time is about selecting well. And we need to put the priority. First of all, you need to prioritize the important event first. And then secondly, time could be compressed. So you could process your time. We call this time engineering. Our life is comprised of the time, so we need to really be really good at engineering our time. If we are good at it, we could manage our life and time, and we might be really good at controlling the time that we have. Please understand that if we don't have the great concept of the time, and if we fail to managing our life will go failure. Do you like your life or not? Are you satisfied with it or not? Sometimes you are confused and you want to know how to control your life, but you don't know how to do that because you don't understand the concept of the life and concept of managing the time. Everyone got lost. So once you perceive the concept of the time, you could successfully control the time and manage your life. You could control the key of your life. So I mean that selecting time is really important. I also mentioned that time is all about events. So we could choose the important event at first. We could prioritize the important events. But there are not important things, for example, but if you if you keep astray to that kind of hassles and not important things, you will miss out the most important thing. So you need to be really good at selecting the important things, and you need to stick to the important things. In order to do that, you need to write down the list, and then you need to compress your time. For example, you need to write down the list of 250 people, and you need to let them know first. You need to let them know that I'm doing this kind of business, I'm doing shampoo business, toothpaste business, and you need to promote that you are doing this business to other people. This is the very first concept and step. And let's say that you are doing this for 250 people. Someone is doing this for 3 months. But others are doing this only within 30 days. Every day, for 10 people, they could call and they could finish it within 30 days, and someone could do it within 10 days. If they call to 25 people a day, they could finish it within 10 days. You could say that, I am selling this kind of product and the price is really affordable, but the quality is really good. And as such, you could call to 250 people every day. So you could manage your time by doing this. Someone could do it for 90 days, but someone could compress this time into 30 days, and someone could do it within 10 days. So we could say the time is compressed. But actually, what we compress is the events. When we condense the time, we also compress the time at the same time. So I will also say that time equals events. So let's compress this event once again. If you don't compress the time and leave them there, you will be losing down. And then you could just do it whatever you want, whenever you want. If you could do it only on a rainy days, on a sunny days. If you do it just by yourself and what you want, nothing might happen. So it will just the time will just go. Nothing will happen. So in order to make something happen, we need to compress the event first. In order to make something happen, first of all, you need to compress the time and the event first. So selecting is all about this. You need to set the priorities and you need to select the important things, and then you need to compress the time and event, and then it will follow. It will make the result. In the concept of the time, there is also the concept of transcendence. We could go to the past, we could go to the future, but we can sometimes transcend the time because we could recall the past and we could also expect the future. So we are not really binded by the time. We could sometimes transcend the time. If we think about the future, we can move to the future as much as possible. But if you don't think about the future, nothing will happen. If you don't draw the picture of your future in 2 years or 3 years, nothing will happen. You need to dream yourself in 2 to 3 years, and you need to vividly dream yourself in the future. But a lot of you not doing this. You're just living in the present. You're just like stuck in your present, and you don't really expect and predict your future. Although you feel really bad today, you need to paint a brighter picture for your future, and you need to transcend the time, and you need to move to the future. This is all about transcending the time. So I could call it time pass over. And next concept is about duplication. We need to duplicate the time. Let me talk about time duplication. If you compress the time, and the event could be compressed also like this, and your partner could also do that. Your partner could also duplicate it. When you want your partner to duplicate it, the original copy should be right, should be correct. Some of you might think that I want my partner to just like me, and in that way you could be successful. But if you think that, oh, I don't want my partner to do like me, in that case you won't be successful, because in order to duplicate, the original copy should be all right. We have the ability to transcend the time. I think this is a really amazing ability, but we are not trying to use this ability. And we tend to be stuck in the present, and nothing will happen when you stick to this kind of concept. In order to make some change, you need to move to the future, and you need to draw yourself a future. And so you need to draw the paint of yourself in 10 years or 15 years, and you need to live the future. In my brain, in my mind, I draw the future of my company. I already did it. I already drew the picture of my company of the future. I would like to make the sales over 10 billion, 100 billion, and 1 trillion. What happened? How come I could dominate the global market, and how could I dominate and lead the global distribution industry? And from now on, the world will be dominated by non-office businesses, and I am drawing the picture of this kind of future. These are the future, but I try to vividly draw the picture of the future in my mind by transcending the time, because we got the ability. And by using that ability, we could live the eternal life, and we could imagine the future. Everyone, once again, we've got this ability to transcend the time, but most of you are just living the present. You're just stuck in the present today. You're just living today. Although you are irritated by yourself today, but next year you will be better. And in 2 years, you will be much better. And you will be overwhelmed by joys. In 5 and 10 years, not only you, but also all of the people around you will be filled with joys. You need to draw the picture of yourself vividly. Once again, we need to duplicate the time by exerting our efforts to transcend the time and ability, and then we need to select the important event in my life. For example, being successful, being healthy, living longer, contributing to others. This kind of important event need to be chosen. But you know, there are a lot of hassles and unimportant things in your mind. For example, angers, sorrows, and agonies. And if your minds are occupied this kind of unnecessary things, your energies will be consumed up. But you shouldn't do that. Sometimes this kind of bad feelings go longer. If you are angry about it and if you are mad at it, stop doing that and just follow the direction of the balanced life. Please relocate your energy into more important things. Don't worry about it, because we all are designed to be successful by Creator God. All of us will be very successful and better off. Someone say that, how come you could design all the things in your mind? And some people also say that, I think you know everything. But still, I have a lot of things that I don't know. But I try to spend my energy into the important things, and I put my priority in making all of the ATOMY members wealthy and better off. And I try to live a contributable life. And these are the important things in my life, because we got the ability to be successful, and that ability will make all of us successful in the future. We need to utilize this time, and you need to utilize this concept in your future. I believe that you will be successful in the future, and your success must follow. It was the lecture done in 2009. It means that he delivered this kind of lecture at the beginning of ATOMY. I think it is really amazing. And he also summarized the concept of time, and I think it's really new. Lim Byeong-gu Crown Master, at the beginning of your business, you said you took this lecture directly, and was it really helpful for you and for your business? Yes, it was. Back then, when I took this lecture for the first time, I got shocked. Because Chairman Park, among the lectures conducted by Chairman Park, that lecture was the most shocking one, because I could summarize my business and I could reorganize my business. And that was the best lecture I got from him. When I started this business at first, there were a lot of agonies and difficulties, and I got lost in my business. And I met ATOMY, and I thought that I met the new tool that lead me to the success. And at very first, I just managed to settle the problems in front of me day by day. But after taking this lecture, I started to put priority in the important things. And I also realized that time equals the events, and we need to start from the important events. And I understood that the concept of the time is about managing the events. And I set my direction into this direction, and I got a lot of ideas from this lecture. Before I took this lecture, the concept of time was only boring, and time was the thing that made me difficult. But when I play with my friends, I feel like the time flies fast. But he said that time is the event, and we could also pioneer the future by managing the event. I started to think how I could manage my time, and it was really brilliant time, and I think I could also feel really touched by this lecture. And from now on, from that moment, I also put the concept of the time into my presentation and lectures.
And also among the chairman's lecture, in order for someone to really live rich, how are they to earn the money? A lot of people, in order to be rich, strive along all time of their life. But still, there are not many rich people. So in order to become rich, they have to hold on to one thing and will instantly earn much of money in such a short time. Or after a certain time has passed, we will need to have work that will be automated and will give you a certain amount of money punctually. So at the ATOMY, with the third method, you can become rich, was what he said. So what I thought was, I want to become financially free. That's the mindset that I had, and now I achieved it all. So for that to happen, the turning point, the first lecture that changed my mindset was this lecture, especially making our time compact. When we first started the business, we were finding people who will buy product through Lim Byeong-gu, or the ones that the people that we met, there were only little people. In order to talk maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I would, put thought for more than 2 or 3 days. But the people who will buy the product, not just the ones that will do the business with me, but the people who will share the words that I met a company that will change my life. And with the absolute product, Hemoim, I am dealing with this product as a tool. I'm going to succeed. Chairman said a bluff, as I'll be surprised. And I realized that this is the kind of passion that I should put into. And from then on, I preached this to a lot of people. I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And that's how you make your abstract your time. So shorten the 2 months to 1 month and to 10 days. As I got to know this principle, regardless of what others say, I'm going to walk my path. But for a balanced life with the confidence that you are going to succeed and we are going to be rich, you have to put your best. Even though we say this, but I don't think people saw the richness in my face. But now, even though I do not say anything, people see the rich in my face. So as I am abstracting my time and pursue the business, for the starters of the business, the Hemoim, the cosmetic, you have the aim to make a customer worth of 50 years. So before a century passes, you will fall as a customer. If you should not try to make 50 customers, but you have to think of spreading what you do to 250 people in just a short amount of time. And you should really preach that. You should preach and also maybe obtain 50 people who thinks that the products are really good, and then you will hugely succeed. So, if you receive calls like this, I think it was ATOMY or something that you sell. I think the person next to me was talking about it, and I think you deals this product, right? So it just resonated and called you up. I think that's how you can gain success here in ATOMY. And what also the chairman said was, in the starting days, when he started the lecture, one of the top secrets to success is visit customers and invite organizations. So when we first started the business, a lot of people, you should visit them and talk about the products and make customers. And make events. And when we're inviting, making invitations, I think in the early days in Gwangju, Wudong area, I just rented a bus for the Success Academy. And to all those customers that I was with, I told them that since there's a bus, let's go to Success Academy together. And there were less than 10 people, I think, that joined me for the first success and the second success, third success. I kept on renting the bus, and eventually the bus was full of people. And at the next Success Academy, I had to rent 2 buses. Just as the chairman has mentioned, you should do timely important thing first. With this commission fees, think of the things what we can do and prioritize what's important. And in order for you to go to the Royal Leaders Club, I don't think it took much. I registered as the business owner, and then to become a Royal Master, it didn't take long. So this my thought upending experience was this time lecture. And after this lecture, I followed the chairman for the first time and told him how touched I was. Well, telling him, looking at all those who went to Chairman Park after the lecture and tell him, compliment his lecture, I thought that they were trying their best to impress him. But now I know that it was not about impressing Chairman Park. And that's what, since I was impressed, that's why I am putting the time lecture in my lecture as well. Well, I think because of this prestigious lecture, prestigious leader was born. So what do you think of this time management then? I think it was last week there was a panel meeting, and they turned on this lecture. Well, I saw this for the first time, so I got goosebumps. So I asked him why you didn't do this, and the chairman said that it is very difficult to give this kind of lecture that he is just playing the video. So when there was only 100 to 200 people in the Togoncheon, and at my time, I talked about the management goals, about the speed, and about the ATOMY Hub, and the motto. I was very touched by the motto itself. Cherish the soul. Cherish the spirit. And how are we to make them succeed? Manage the spirit. And with the confidence that you'll win, you'll have to humbly serve others. It's so touching. But at the last lecture, when I listened to the lecture about balanced life, it also touched my heart again. So I think it would seem very desperate if we make a goal accordingly. And I was able to see the born of a great CEO. At the first session, he talked about the 8 steps to success. Every step was worth of 2 hours of speech, but he gave everything in 50 minutes. And afterwards, he just left. And at the end, he said, and now I am bankrupt. As I failed 5 times in multi-level marketing, what I thought was a shame was that they keep on raising the price eventually. And I thought that if the company normalizes, I thought ATOMY will raise their product price as well and also make, registration fee. That's what I thought. Didn't you think so as well? But when I heard that he is bankrupt, I instantly felt that he's not going to receive any registration fee. Over the world, 65 years of history, there's no networking company that does not have a registration fee. But if it's the delinquent borrower that's eradicating this, then it makes sense. Why don't we shiver altogether? You have to shiver in order to succeed. And he's keeping that for 15 years. Why don't we send the chairman a big hand? So that's when I submitted my resignation letter and joined ATOMY. And listening to the lecture, it gave me goosebumps. 9 years ago, he talked about the future. 10 billion, 100 billion, 1 trillion will grow big. And time management is all about managing events. I told my partners to look at success speech for 50 times. If I have known earlier, then I would have made them watch this film, the time management lecture, for more than 100 times. So, well, all of you, should say that this is a hard lecture for you to listen to. But since you have listened to it, you will succeed faster. I will also see this lecture more than 100 times. I think you made it all clear. Now let's move on to the second question. Well, since there's a hard time forming relations, if I want to give up the business, what should we do? There were people when we were pursuing business under the goal of ATOMY. Since this is what people do, there are people that feels hardships along the making relationship, and there are people who give up. Well, I feel very sad for them. So this human conflicts, how are we to overcome this? Well, before I give you the answers, well, I told you that there are people ask me, why don't I give time management lectures? Well, in the networking marketing area, there's a saying that what you can teach, you shouldn't teach. So with this means that what I teach should be applied, and the one that has been taught should be able to teach as well. But this time management is a notion that is very hard to understand and teach at the same time. So we are doing a product introduction and receive PV and all those contents that we can use right away. We don't have even enough time to introduce 101, but to preach about time management as well, it's very difficult. So about 15 years ago, we did it in the first hand, but now we're not doing it too much. But why did we do it then? Even though we did not have time back then, there was a reason. Well, just like the Crown Master Lim Byeong-gu, he is a player. He is indeed a player in this networking marketing area. And also, did you say that you did 7 networking? Yes, you did for 17 years. You were in this marketing field for more than 17 years. So when these people came to me for the first time, what kind of attitude do you think they would have had? It's like this. Let's see what you say. Well, let us see. I know everything you know. And all those lectures, I already gave them, so why don't you try me? So they would lean back. And Lim Byeong-gu Crime Master, as he was listening to the speech, I still remember what he said after he listened to my speech. Well, a big star of networking marketing came, and that's me. And that was the first thing he said. Well, if it was a big star, I thought he would not be here. He should be somewhere receiving like thousands of ones. So what I answered was, please say hello after you become Diamond Master. So I ignored him in full list, and because I have to, set the stage first. So that's why I went up to the blackboard and started preaching about time management, looking at the blackboard. So all the players, in order to, put them down, was saying, you guys would never have listened to a lecture like this. But we don't have to make people discouraged because they were poor, I was poor, so everybody would just neglect each other. But now, even without the time management, the field is the ATOMY. This building belongs to ATOMY, and everybody will just would approximately or roughly know. We had the 4-star who retired. He lived nearby. So we saw the 4-star Korean Army who already retired, and I introduced myself as a manager of the operator of the ATOMY, and the wife was very happy to share her experience of ATOMY, of drinking the shake and all this, and looking at you, it's a grace. So the 4-star's wife was saying that it's an honor to meet me in person. So now, we don't try to discourage others because that's not necessary at all. That's why I'm not doing the lecture. Well, am I discouraging anyone at this moment? So, yes, back to the question. How are we to overcome relationship obstacles? So, relationship not even inside the ATOMY, but also outside ATOMY. It's important everywhere, even inside family members, and among father and sons, and among the couple. It's all about relationship. If we set the relationship in a wrong place from the start, there's a problem. So, ATOMY if ATOMY is the problem behind the relationship, this is not the case. Relationship problem always happens, but elsewhere, we would just say goodbye and that's it. But in ATOMY, everything is intertwined together, and also it's tangled with the capital problem and the stakeholder problem. So we might have good relationship or bad relationship. So that's why I think people are saying that this human relations are hard. Then what do you think is the reason behind this hardship? Do you think the hardship lies in me or the other opponent? Well, yes, I think you already know the answer. Yes, most of the time the problem lies in myself, but we always point at the other person. So this 3-person, but you should know that when one finger is pointing at the opponent, 3 fingers are pointing at you. So you should know this, and that's why the Bible has stated that you will see the small part of your opponent's eyes, but you won't see your big fault that you have. So human relations, why is it this complex? And why is it a hard problem to solve? And why is it a conundrum? So I have explained this in engineering way. So it's a little bit difficult, but should I outline this? I think I need a blackboard in order to explain. So people, or human, why do they quarrel? It's because they're in the same level. So babies, they fight each other, we understand that, but a baby and an adult, if they fight, whose fault is it? It's the baby's fault. So the adult is in one step higher, but because they're going downgrading themselves to the child dimension, that's why there's a problem. So now we'll have to first summarize or fix the notion of a dimension. So if we differentiate the dimension, then there won't be a quarrel.
이름을 이렇게 좀 고차원으로 해서 고차원적 인간 관계론이다.
So let me call the theory a high-dimensional relationship theory. So first, we need to define what a high dimension means. First of all, in order to be like an adult, we need to live in a higher level and higher dimension. First of all, we need to take the definitions of the dimensions first. In personal relationship, if you don't want to make a relationship with any other people, if you don't want to meet anyone, including your family members, and if you are just like want to be stuck in your room like a cocoon, we call it being cocooning. And sometimes you don't want to make any relationship with other people. Sometimes you might have this kind of personality and characteristics. You need to look into yourself whether you have this character or not. So sometimes you might feel really afraid of making a relationship and attending this kind of seminar event. These kind of people try to lock up themselves. So in the dimension, we draw them like this dots. We call this a zero dimension, which is no dimension. We all understand what the one dimension means. What is it? What is the first dimension? When the dots are moving and draw a line, we call it one dimension. And what is the two dimension? When these lines move and make a face, we call it the two dimension. And what is three dimension?
보통 우리가 3차원을 뭐라고 그러냐면은 3D 이렇게 부르죠.
In short, we call it 3D. And there are things like 3D printer in the technologies. Anyways, we also know what 3-dimension is. It means that when the sides are moving and forming this kind of space, we call this space a 3-dimension. And what is the 4 dimensions? Many of you have been heard of 4 dimension. And when we call someone is living in the 4 dimensions, sometimes we say that he or she has no sense of reality and he or she doesn't feel sense of real. Anyways, we also know what the 4 dimensions mean. So what we could say that the 3 dimension means the real space that we are living right now. So we have this dimension, we have this space. And we could add the concept of time to these 3 dimensions. And when we add the concept of time, we could expand the space like this. Within the space, we could put the concept of time, and it could be like this. It will start from the present and it will be expanded into the future. So when we say that he or she is in his 3 dimensions, it means that he doesn't have the sense of reality. I'm sorry, it means that it is the 4 dimensions. So I would like to ask you, in which dimension should we be? We should be in the 4 dimensions in order to be successful. So we all say that we are striking the balance in our life, and we are making 100 million Korean won a month. When we say that, it is not real in the present. We might all understand that, even though we are not making this, but we are saying that we're going to make this money in the future. And we are also saying that I will going to do that, I will make you to do this. And when we say that, we call the person living in the 4 dimensions.
우리가 지금 현재만 이렇게 보면은
When we just focus on the reality and the present, sometimes it is really difficult to solve the issues existing right now. But when we change our focus into the future and when we direct our attention to the present, we could secure the solutions. So now you have the problem about the bus fares. When you rent a bus, you need to share the fares, or someone might say that center manager need to pay for the bus fares by himself, and the center manager might say that he wants to share the burden of the bus fares all together with the members. So there are a lot of different ideas and different opinions around one centers. And in that moment, you might also say that, hey, have you heard of that? Another center say their center manager will pay for their bus. So like this kind of like conflict could be made. But if we try to solve this issue from the perspective of the present, we cannot solve the issue. But when we direct our attention to the future and at the from the perspective of the future, you could see the problem of the present, and that you could find out the solutions. Let's say that if you are an imperial master, and let's imagine that you become an imperial master in the future. You have 100 center leaders below me in your downline because you have hundreds of centers in Korea and overseas. In China, in the US, in South America, in Europe, you have a lot of centers, and all of your center managers have different characteristics and nationalities and financial status. If you say that you have different kinds of center managers below me, in order to be a leader to lead all of the center managers, in the future, you could understand what kind of and what type of center manager you need to be at present. As a center manager, you need to pay for the bus leader because you got the center fee. Should we do like this, or oh, he is the center manager below me, so I need to help him, and I need to support him. I need to call him. I need to book. He's doing a lot of chores like booking the bus, calling the bus driver, and he said that he asked me to share the burden just a half. Oh, I'm really grateful for the center managers. As such, if you try to change the dimension, you will secure the solution because you could see the problem from the perspective of the future. But if you don't do that, you cannot change the situation and you cannot secure the solutions. So let's turn back to the point. Let's see. Let's evaluate in which dimension you are at right now. If you are alone and if you want to make any relationship with others, and if you feel overwhelmed by making relationship, I might say you are in a 0 dimension, which is the lowest dimension. But there is also a dimension called 0.5 dimension. It's like I would like to make a small relationship with others, but something goes wrong. I would like to disconnect that relationship. So I call this one is in 0.5 dimension. Then what about 1 dimension? This person is getting along with only one person. Most of the people are living in the 1 dimension. People are getting along with their friends, but they don't get along with others. They think that the others are bad and only me, myself is good. But this kind of people have 1 or 2 friends, and they are getting along with 1 or 2 friends, and they don't get along with the others. So we might say that this kind of people are in their first and 1 dimension. But normally, these kind of people don't expand their relationship around them. I know most of you and some of you are thinking that you are in the first dimension, 1 dimension. And if you want to be a person who is really good at ATOMY business, you need to change yourself. You need to change your dimension. You need to expand. You need to expand your dimension like this, and you need to expand your space like this, and at least you could live in the 2 dimensions. And if you are getting along with your peers, I might say you are at least in your 2 dimensions. For example, most of your children are getting along with their peers, but they are not getting along with adults or teachers and the older generation, and they don't understand the older generation, and they think that they are suppressing them. And sometimes the children are not getting along with their like younger brothers and younger sisters, but they are only getting along with their friends and peers. But they are fighting their younger brother and sister. We call them people in the 2 dimensions. And in order to expand your dimension, we should do like this. We need to be more dimensional. So, for example, you need to get along with those in a higher level and higher dimensions. You need to make relationship with them. You need to understand their position. So, for example, you need to stand at the perspective of your center manager, and you need to understand their agonies and hardship. And you need to understand that, oh, my center manager needs to take care of a lot of things, and my sponsor needs to take care of a lot of things, and you need to understand their position. If you start to understand other people's position, you might grow your dimensional thinking, and you might start thinking from the 3 dimension. And you need to also understand my perspective. If you think that, oh, Mongsang is having really a lot of difficulties and he's having a lot of hardship, and in that way, you are standing at this position. Moreover, if you think that, oh, like people who lead this country and people who take the lead for securing the global world peace, it means that you could have more like higher dimensional thinking. Now I am describing the dimensions, the different dimensions, and now you could evaluate yourself and you can see in which dimension you are. Is it clear? Okay. Now let me move on to the 4 dimensions. If you are in the fourth dimension, you could understand your problem from the future perspective, and you could predict your future and expect the future. Here, we could transcend the time. I already mentioned about it, transcending the time in the lecture previously. And if you are in the fourth dimension, you could predict the future and from the perspective of the future, and you could secure the solution at present. In 2009, ATOMY was newly established, and I made that lecture at the early beginning. But until now, even now, I am touched by my lecture. That means keeping words is really important, and it's also really difficult. Some people change their words every year. When we meet them last year and this year, sometimes people change their words. And when they do this, we could call them they are not honest. All of the trust could come from the unchanging words. Even though the time goes by, we need to keep the words. And then even though we might have some damages, we need to keep the words in order to earn honesty. And then, but what if you already made that promise and you change the words? You might lose trust. Sometimes they might seem really clever, but actually they're doomed because they might lose trust from other people. People won't buy them. And that's all because they have already changed their words so far, so that people lose the confidence and trust from them. But those people sometimes forgot that they changed their words in the past. They said that they just got angry, and they are just saying that, just trust me, just believe me. But we can't really do that because they already changed their words. And it is all because that they are not transcending the time. And even though we are transcending time, we need to keep the words at present and the future. Let's say that when I did the speech for the first time in 2009, we only did the businesses domestically, only in Korea, because we entered into the US market in 2010. But the lecture was made in 2009. The sales was only about less than 10 billion Korean won a month. Anyways, it was less than 10 billion Korean won a month. Although, nevertheless, I said I will dominate the global distribution industry. I made my words. And I also said that I will lift 1 billion Korean won to the imperial master. But my word has never changed. In order to keep my words, I need to predict the future from the perspective of the future, and I need to calculate all the things and all of the solutions, all of the problems I have right now. So let's make a calculation. I already calculated whether I could give 1 billion Korean won or not to the imperial master. I already calculated it from the perspective of the future. But I also drew the worst scenario, because when our finance is not in a good position, I at least need to give that money to the imperial master. If I calculate all the things with no flush out and with all of the consumers, I could see that how many masters are compared to the sales. Do I need to calculate it or not? Yes.
So, if we try to match it like this, then inside maybe like 100 billion, we can have an impact. We can see imperial master being born. But I think when it was 10 times higher, we did that. So, in the worst scenario, I think things work even in the 10 billion. But that was not the time when we had the computer programming and it will automatically everything will done. But at those times, we did not have a computer without a program. I would have to manually calculate everything. Then we have the sales part. If we have 2 to 4 sales partners would make a Diamond Master, and we have a Sharon being born. So this organization can grow, exponentially grow. We can write them all down at a wall. And at a big paper, we would post it up. And even at one wall, we won't be able to put up the organization card. Have you tried drawing the organization card? You should try it. So with the partners, when we have Imperial Master being born, what will happen and how can we calculate the sales? But because it's hard for us to match all things, then what should we give? So that's the judgments that I make. So when we made the calculation, in whatever circumstances it might be, I was able to know that if I give 1 billion won to all the Imperial Masters, there won't be a problem at the company. That's why I announced this. So everybody going, I planned this from tinnitus. That is why we were able to do this. And if we go worldwide, if we can do the global logistics, then we have about 30 warehouses, I think 30 or so, ATOMY warehouses. At every country, we need a warehouse. So, we have it in Europe, we have it in the Western world, and in Africa, and now we are having more and more, and also in Netherlands. That's why, as we are delivering to other countries, and if it's expensive to go to the north, then we'll have to make more warehouses to streamline our expenses. And inside the data processing or the computer network, we'll be able to see all the warehouse inventories and a container that is passing the Pacific and what is anchoring down and what is the one that's in the Atlantic Oceans, the one that's coming from the Trans-Atlantic, and the ones that is being towed down from the warehouse. Everything should stay inside your head. So with all this picture in the head, the Indo-Pacific, so we should create a belt, and you should be able to come up with the logistics system. That's why that will help you not change your words. So you can do this. We're not computers. What the Mongsang Chairman talking about? He said he came up with a commission system before the company even began. He had a vivid picture about the global logistics and coming up with the computer networking. How can this be sure? However, this is not because I have a brilliant head, but it's because how you use your head is different. You can also come up with this kind of idea. Where you use your brain, that's the key. Most of the people, they use their brain to sin, to hate someone. So 24/7, they are filled with hatred. I will kill you, kill that person. And they are always outraged. And there are persons who always carry the people that they hate inside their hearts. So this computer processing is using its data in different fields. So those stored data piles up why that person is a bad person. So we have to erase this kind of structure of thinking. We have to live by the Bible so that the person can be wise. But if we focus on difficult things, like if we are going to put a part and whom I hate, what is lack, since all those are inside the head, that's why this computer that we love is starting to, the speed is slowing down because a lot of things are being interrupted. That's why it's giving you pain, headache. That is why your computer is getting slow, because it has too much on the deck. That's why what we have to do is erase all the data information. We call this as repent in Bible. As I pray, I want it to happen. Do you know what it is? I have never made that kind of a prayer. Well, we can hate someone. Of course, yes, I can have hatred in my heart because of the person's wrongful behavior, then that could make us mad. But to forgive and try to forgive, but that doesn't work, then we pray to the Lord. Though you said love your selves, but it's hard for me to love my neighbor. So give me the strength to love people. Please help me. So if you say so, at certain point, the things that I heard is back to normal. So this rage is being filled at one side of your head. So we should delete all that. But what does the people find? You get to understand the person, why the person is doing so. So we have this situation. So since we get to understand the person, we get to love the person. Because we love the person, we want to be good to the person. All these are positive energies. And even until now, the reason why I can be passionate at this old age is because of how we use our brain, the method we use. There is no definition of good or bad brain. It seems good, and it seems like a heavy loaded data processing computer, and there are times it looks silly. So, inside our head, the sin and arrogance, the fact that I want to be on the lead, and if someone neglects the someone, it's because I lived in my dignity. Because they have pride in themselves, it creates error in the system. That's why Bible is the root of wisdom. We have different problems. So, if we think of others in this three-dimensional way, the problem that we have with the other component will disappear. So, Lim Byeong-gu Crown Master, we told him that we saw nothing. This person is causing a headache, but it might be the case that there is a person that has a really big day, and if we are overacting, And those kind of problems can happen. And growing up at a poor house, you were beaten up by the mother, or you were bullied by the school friends. That might be the reason behind the action. So we have to differentiate the time dimension. So we should not see them at the same level, but we should see the people in level. And I was remembering myself giving this kind of a thing. I thought I was really insane to share that kind of goal with all of you. So, we have fifth dimension. So you might be curious, what is fifth dimension? So what do they have for the fifth edition? So you should think of this as the way. So we should meet at this point. Then, it's going beyond the fourth dimension. We are seeing everything from the past, present to the future. So, the past is in the present, the future is in the present. So, for the balanced life, this future goal to be accomplished, and the balanced life to be pushed down to the present. And through this hurdle of balanced life, we are to accomplish the goal of having a balanced life, is what I said. So currently, in order for us to live well with active participation financially, we should actively learn, and we should actively love others, and should actively serve others. So, since I had a correct definition in my head, I didn't think of helping others after I come out from the broadcasting. But for the 2 million won of my first salary, I received it really late. I put aside 200,000 won, and I asked them to ask if there are children who could not afford to eat lunch. And the teacher said, yes, there was a children that was not able to pay for their meal. And I worried about that person, and thanks for your help. And that's how I started to increase my help unto others. So now it's about 100 millions of I was not the only one that thought so. Since I was in the hardship, the ATOMY was in the hardship, and the ATOMY Park was about to collapse. But I started my business of donation because I thought that it is needed. So if you see here, this difficult future and the difficult past and the future that I will become rich. And what do you think? The person that gives huge amount of money in a huge tow truck and a person that receives it, do you think is richer? To become a person that can compensate. So in the Bible it says, the Lord, I am the Alpha and Omega. Those who go to church, I think you have seen this character, Alpha, Omega. It means I am the Alpha and Omega. I'm the start and the end. I'm the start and the end. They are at the same page. So, if you look at it, the time starts from the past to the present and flows to the future. This linear line is there. That future and the past cannot meet each other because it's a line. But the Lord said that they're all at one point. They are together. What does this mean? The Alpha and Omega met as the start. If it's the Alpha, it's Omega, and then if it's Omega, it's the start. So as it's entangled, then is there an end or not? We cannot end this. And what do we call this? This is the eternal world, world of eternity.
그러니까 하나님은 영원하신 분이에요.
So that's why the Lord is the Lord. And where do they invite them? They invite us to join them in the garden of eternity. I'm the Alpha and Omega. I died for you, and I am asking you to come into my world to raise you as my own child. So that's why you have to come next Friday. You should, right?
그렇죠?
You want to come, right?
그러니까 지금
So,
내가 얘기하는 것은
all that I say,
지금 여러분들이 제대로 이해를 하려면은
in order for you to properly understand this, you have to make it to the revival meeting and study in order for you to actively feel it.
살때 4차원 정도가 아니고 5차원
So how should we live? Not the fourth dimension, but fifth dimension is the kind of life we should pursue. So unto my little boys, I say this.
방에서 발 떼면 안 돼.
We shouldn't stop at the Yangjae-dong area, the small-footed studio.
그러면서 또 지금
And now,
세계를 날아다니면서
as I am flying over the world, doing business,
그것도 같이
a rich house
빵하고 지금
is another reality I'm facing. And in Taejong, I have a 365 pyong worth of a mansion. So the past future is coexisting. But most of the people forget about the past when they are a bit successful. And even though the past has passed, there are people who are holding on to the past for too long. And even though their pockets are empty, they preach about how it was like back in the days. He keeps on saying back in the days, back in the days. So
그거는 현실 감각.
that is a realistical sense.
과거도 현재로 가죠.
And the past is brought to the present, and future is brought to the present.
그 우리 임병구 크라운
Well, Crown Master Lim,
볼게 아니요.
if you're here as a panel, you shouldn't zone out.
그 어려웠던 시절에도 궁상을 떤 적이 있어요, 없어요?
Well, at those difficult times, were there a time I looked like I looked poor? No, right? I didn't look poor even back then when we were in a hardship.
김치봉 대표이사 홀마
And Hokolma BHD CEO Kim Chi-bong,
자기가 몰라서 애터미에다가 물건을 주고 계약을 했대.
he didn't know what ATOMY was and gave the permission to and started the deal. And if he knew that ATOMY was in a hardship and was in a small studio, then he would not have done the deal. But, well, I never has said or boasted my assets, and I said nothing about my wealth. But that doesn't mean that because I have no money, I never bended myself or tried to please him. But, well, your factory is almost being bankrupt. You're selling only about 500 boxes for about half a year. You're operating your factory for only two times a year. So what can you do? Listen to me. I will help you sell more than 100,000 boxes. So 10,000 boxes per month will be able if you work with me.
그 소리를 치니까
So that's how I boasted.
진짜 내가 쥐뿔도 없는 줄을 나중에 알았대. 나중에.
So he got to know that I had nothing in my hands later on. So you should have a big vision, dream big. Then, all the small, trivial problems will all just pass. Well, you will look back and say that, oh, there was a small stone right there. So this obstacle should not look like an obstacle to you. That's because you're not at the future yet. What is your future?
뭐 이렇게 말이 빨리 안 나와?
Why can't you speak up fast? Why can't you instantly answer? It's to become imperial.
우리 미래는 뭐라고?
What is your future? Imperial. Yes.
이제 정신이 좀 나가.
Now I think you're in your mind. So all you should become imperial, and as you live with the goal of becoming imperial, all those problems will look really small. So you should have no problems. You should not endure, overcome, and even though that is a problem, you endure it and then try to overcome. Well, that means you're living in the realistical current level. It means you're living in the 2 dimensions. But if you go fast forward yourself to the future, and from the 4 dimensions, if you look at this, you will see that these are all nothing.
See, the Bible already said this. God created the world 6,000 years ago, and Jesus passed away, and I was born at this point. But he passed away on behalf of me because of my sin. I wasn't there back then, but how come he could die on behalf of me? It is all possible because he is at the start. So that's how it was possible for him to be crushed 2,000 years ago. So the Bible said that we and Christ Jesus and we and I were crushed. In order to teach the Bible, you all need to understand this kind of things, and Creator God already gave us the intelligence to understand all of this. He gave us the ability because we need to understand what He said in order to share the Gospels. So, as such, we could understand the ability to transcend the time, and then so that we could understand the concept of time, such as alpha, omega, and so on. So we all got the intelligence to understand his concept, but we don't use that intelligence in this very important things. Rather, we try to use that intelligence in other things. And so because of this deep resentment, we try to use this kind of intelligence in other things. That's why we need to repent and become penitent. If you were arrogant in the past and if you try to fight with other people, you need to repent right now. And if you solve this kind of issues, all of the issues will be settled up. And then your brain might have more spaces to understand these kind of things. And that moment, you will understand what I say. And then you understand the very concept of God. And the reason that you don't understand this concept is that your brain is packed with unnecessary things and unnecessary information. All of that unnecessary information is packed in your brain so that it make you not understand the Bible and what I say. So, man, a lot of men made money and they try to spend that money in bad things, such as having alcohol and playing with other women. So sometimes they are also some men abandon their own family and create one more family. They all need to repent, and they need to understand that all of the families and all he got were from God, and all of these could be created by God. And women, you are the same. You need to understand and you need to recognize that all the things are granted by God, and we need to cherish all the things that which is from God. And we need to be diligent, and we need to be honest. And then you need to also sometimes understand your husband, and you need to also cover up your husband, and you need to be along with your husband, and you need to also take care of the husband. As such, we need you and your husband need to live well together. But most of the wives and husbands hate each other, and they spend their time for these kind of unnecessary things. Later, in front of God, you will all be judged. And as such, Jesus Christ were there and exists there, and he got all of the sins from the past and the future and passed away on behalf of our sins. And he said that he died because of our sin. But he said that I revive, and I am now sharing the gospel to all of you. This is what we call gospel. This is why gospel is really good. I always said that the foundation of the wisdom is to know God and Jesus Christ. And if you are not really clever, and if you are not making a lot of money, you might think also like this. Actually, I went to a great school and I went to prestigious school, but I don't make much money, and I don't make much more money than Chairman Park. You don't need to think about it, and you need to repent it, and you need to clear up your mind. After clearing up your mind and brain, you might have more capacity to understand the very concept needed for your success, because God already granted that intelligence to you so that you could understand the concept and the wisdom.
그래서 하여간 여러분들이 이제 주변에서 주변 사람들을 봐봐.
Look around people next to you, and now you could say, oh, he is in the first dimension. And do you need to fight with the person in the first dimension, or you need to take care of that person in the one direction as a person who is in the 3 dimension? Yes, you need to take care of them. And if you are living in the reality as a person in 3 dimension, you need to take lesson from the person in the 4 dimensions. And if you are in the 4th dimension, you need to also understand the person in the 3 dimension, and you need to let them understand the basic concepts. And people in the 3 dimension are living in the reality, and they're really like realistic, but no matter how clever they are, they cannot compete the people in the 4th dimension, because people in the 4th dimension could expect the future as a future imperial master. So do not try to compete with the people in the 4th dimension, because you need to understand that you are in the different dimensions. You can like defeat the people in the 4 dimensions. If you clearly understand the concept of Creator God, and if you got the concept of this kind of 3 dimension, you could solve all of the issues of the present. Because you need to also understand that if you die, every problem will be settled. But what if you will have the eternal life? No matter how complex a problem is, all of the problem will be solved, and you will be in the glorious moment with the eternal life. So when you in a center, and when you meet some people, and when you have some like arguments, you need to say, oh, I evaluate he or she in the 3 dimension or 2 dimensions. And then as a person in the 3 dimension, or as a people in the 4 dimension, you could solve all of the issues made with the people or person in the different dimension. Once again, if you understand this concept, you could solve all of the issues you have right now. I believe that this is the one and only seminar that we could have this important lecture. I want all of you to come to Reviver meeting next Friday. All of you, I hope all of you could direct your attention until the end of the lecture, because this lecture will make you Imperial Masters. Chairman Park, you're having really busy days. I understand that. Some people expect someone will help them, and some people also expect their sponsor to help them. And these kind of expectations can lead to the argument. So, Chairman Park, sorry, I cannot give you the time to take some rest, but could you please answer this question? Sorry. I'm exhausted, but it's okay. So let me go deeper into the examples. I know that there are a lot of issues and the reasons of the arguments between people, and I think the person who questioned would like to know the solution of this issue. I know that there are a lot of issues occurring in the centers and business, and I would like to give you one basic example. And the fundamental issue was created by the misconception of binary and wrong information from different companies. First of all, regarding the binary, someone were taught that one line will be made by their sponsor, and all I have to do is to make one binary. Actually, this is wrong. And some say that, why you don't give me the sales, and why you don't inherit the sales. And I think most of the problems are made because of this kind of issue. So, let me settle this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Chairman Park. So, let me define binary here. Binary should be two lines. One from sponsor and one from me. It's wrong. A lot of companies taught like this. Dynasty, Koryo, Hanbaek taught like this, and I know how they conducted their lecture about the binary, but I don't think that is the right way, because all of them went bankrupt and all of them made a lot of issues and arguments between themselves. So let me show you. Here we have sponsor, and here this is me. And I have line A and line B. Sponsor might first say to you, I will do the one line, and all you have to do is the other line. And most of the sponsors say like this. But see, this is the root cause of all of the conflicts. Let me show you why. B line is from the sponsor, and if you think that this line will be expanded by the sponsor, and the sponsor above sponsor could expand this line, and this line could be expanded like this. You could expect like this. So you might expect that all I have to do is to expand my one line. But what if your one line go wrong? This line go really well and the other line went wrong. You cannot make profit. But what if your one line goes really well? And your sponsor made the line only like this. your sponsor will expand your line or start the sponsor's own B line. Of course, your sponsor will start working on the line B because from your line A, there are a lot of good profits. So he or she could make a good profit from line A. So your sponsor will not expand your line B. In that, if your sponsor does it, your sponsor might be really silly. So see,
잘 돼도 망하고 안 돼도 망하는 것이 스폰서가 한 줄 내려준다는 거예요.
if your sponsor takes care of your one line,
잘 됐어.
if you go well, it will also fail. And if you go wrong, it will also fail. Because if your one line goes really well, your sponsor starts to take care of her own line B. Think about yourself. If the B line from you goes wrong and the line A from you goes well, your sponsor will make his own B line because it will make much more profit. So you need to understand this, and you need to take care of all of the two lines by yourself. If you are in the one dimension or two dimension, you might be angry about your sponsor, and you might say, you said you will be taking care of my line B. That's why I only take care of my line A. But now you don't care about my line B and you are expanding your own line B. How come you could do that? I will never expand, or I will never work on my line B because I am really mad at my sponsor. These kind of people are living in two dimension or one dimensions. So, but if you are at least in the three dimensions, you might think that, oh, now my line A is expanding and my sponsor is making his or her line B, and I need to understand the situation. If you think like that, you can say that you are in the three dimensions. And as a person in the four dimension, you need to at least expect the situation. You need to expect that, oh, if my line A goes well, my sponsor will not take care of my line B, and he or she will start working on his or her own line B. As such, you need to predict and expect this kind of possible scenario and make the present solution as a person in the fourth dimensions. So you need to say, if your sponsor say that you don't need to take care of two lines, I will take care of your line A, I will take care of your line, all you need to do is to take care of your one line. If your sponsor say like that, you need to predict the future as a person in the fourth dimension, and you need to say that, hey, sponsor, I'm really thankful and I'm really grateful for what you said, but I will take care of my two lines by myself. And sponsor, don't worry about my lines, and you just focus on your own line B because you need to make your own profit. This is the clever answer. And your sponsor will think that, oh, I really like my partner. So when their line gets bigger as such, your sponsor will start to help you because your sponsor really like you. In that point, there might be no conflict and there might be no arguments between you and your sponsor. So, you need to let your sponsor know in advance, don't worry about me, you need to please take care of your own line, I will take care of my two lines, don't worry about my line. This is the clever solution that you need to make at first and at present. I will do my best and I will make you Imperial Master. I will do my best and will make you successful. This is the stance that you need to have toward your sponsor, and your sponsor will be really liking you. Although you're having some difficulties or hardship, your sponsor will be fully supporting you.
So we're not just doing this one line. You have to make two lines. So those who learned well wrongly, it's not one line. You should upend what you think. You won't be able to succeed not only at ATOMY, but in the history of network marketing all holistically, you won't be able to succeed. So 333, I have to have one line of sponsor, and even all there were companies that were doing it forcefully. There was this one famous woman who said that we're going to only deal women and no men. So let's say that this is the sponsor line. And everyone, before making their B line, they have to have one A line and in order to make B line. And before the third, we have to have one in the A line so that we can have other line. So there was a company that pursued this system in Yeoksamdong. So the sponsor line, because there's a problem like this, they had this kind of system. But do you think it worked or not? No, it didn't work. They went bankrupt. They went out of service. So this doesn't work as well. So that's how historically it has been proven, and you shouldn't do it. And now, oh, all I have to do is just send one page, okay? Since I erased, I have to make it back. As you can see, I'm not that perfect. I am a bit slow, but I look very, well, smart because I learned things. You see here, there's an organization chart that looks like this. Let's see. It goes into the V shape. We need a sponsor like this, and one side, and if we have one line, and then others will have to make their own spread branches or branch out as they want, so that they're not making a B line but just making a line and to the down. There's a person who pursues this as well. What do you think will happen if you meet a sponsor like this? Well, don't you think it is good? Because the sponsor has great abilities and will make you branch down. But eventually this will collapse as well, because sponsor, is it profitable or not? Yes, it's profitable, so there's money there. But is there a person that's profitable down at the branch? Then no. So if the sponsor loses its profitability, then to the end of the branch, will they stay within the branch of ATOMY or not? Or will they leave us in order to look for other capital? Yes, they will leave. So though it looks profitable, eventually there's only one person that can earn money, but others will just leave. So in ATOMY, the only sustainable way to earn money is to help other partners earn money and help making them live inside the branch of ATOMY. So rather than looking after your own balance accounts, you have to look into the partner's balance account. If they're earning money, if they have a lot of commission, that's what you have to look into in order for you to succeed. So if this is the organization and there's like 50 or hundreds, I'm 50-50, so it's 100 of overall. But
이렇게 100개를
this, if this is the organization chart, well, actually, when I was young, I was very good at making this organization charts. And as we branch down,
이렇게 이제 매출은 같은 금액이 일어난다고 치자 이거예요.
and let's say if we have this
그런데 여기는 이제 이렇게 갖고 한 줄로만 해서 50개씩
and make one line
매출에 100사람한테서
from 100 people.
30만 PV씩 매출이 일어났다고 치자
Let's
이거예요.
say if we had about, 30 million PV per then there's only one person who's profitable. But in this organization chart,
두 줄로 이렇게
in 2 lines, if it branches out,
나가고 수당이 같을까요? 안 같을까요?
then would the PV be the same or not? The head's PV is the same. So there's no loss, whether it's one line to vertically or if it branches down, if it happens in our step or the next step, there's no difference. And there's no loss for me.
그런데 여기에
There's no
같은
damage.
매출이 일어났는데
But if it's the same sales,
벌어요 못 벌어요? 불죠.
will this person earn or not? Yes, this person will earn. That will burn. We will burn. They will earn. So as the people downside earn,
벌어지는 수당이
then the commission fee
생이 조직보다는
compared to this absurd one-line organization will earn much. So because there's no laws, a partner that will just branch down and leaving out people that won't join the selfish person. And in this organization,
뭐 자기 능력으로는 못하는 사람도 그래도 돈 벌게 좀 해주자.
well, helping others, those, though the person might lack ability, and even though I did the recruiting myself, and the dividing down, rooting down, and helping others with this kind of spirit, then
전체적으로 요
holistically, this organization will be much more vitalized.
김광열 임페리얼
So let's say Kim Kwang-yeol Imperial and the Crown Kim Sung-sim. If you look into their organization chart,
다이아몬드 샤론
they have the Diamond Sharon, the Leaders Club, the Royal Club, Crown Club. There's about 50 of them joining these clubs inside the organization. I mean, inside their family tree.
무조건 잘 될 거 아니에요.
So will that family work or not? Of course it will work. So
여러분들이 여기 오는 파트너가 다 내 집안
all these partners, you should regard them as one of their family members. So you should help them earn.
그런데 어떤 심보냐면은
But what kind of spirit do we have?
내려가지고
As we branch down, if we help them be profitable, the person might not work. So we should make it not profitable for everyone. So if we make the system of if I work, it's not profitable, that person, well, that kind of spirit has worked behind this one-line organization chart. So whether you're good or bad, if we have a warm heart of helping others, will that organization work, or versus the organization that make the system of not being profitable for each other, but only oneself?
여러분들이 어떻게 해야 될 것 같아요?
What do you think you should do?
그래서
So
조직을 이렇게 옆으로
that's why we have to branch out to your sides. Of course, we cannot only branch out to the sides, it also can branch out downwards as well.
그래서
So
여러분들이 바이너리를 하면서
as you're doing the binary,
스폰서가 해준다.
one line by sponsors, so others you can only focus on one line. Why there are conflicts saying you said you promised me one line, but why aren't you giving me a line? Well, there are this kind of problems. That is why to the sides you should make a balance, making a line at 2 sides, helping those who are in need, who doesn't have the power. Have a warm heart. That's how you should navigate your way forward. I think that's about it. Thank you. Well, Chairman, thank you very much. Today, as you have listened to the lectures, I think you have listened to the abstract version of several years of the Chairman's life. And Lim Byeong-gu Crown Master, I think you'll have something to say listening to Chairman's lecture. Well, first, when I selected this ATOMY business, I liked the business and I liked the products, but I liked the profit chart the most. So when I started this business, the optimization or maximization of the profit was my focus, of course. This binary, there are people saying that it has lots of faults in it, but the binary, the faults that binary system has, all of it has been mended by the ATOMY, that even as I was starting the business. So all the conflicts, most of the things can be solved by Chairman's lecture. There's this lecture, and I shared this with a lot of people. With the sponsor list, you won't succeed. So this means that the sponsor will give you PV, will make a line. You won't be able to succeed with just the help of the sponsors. But you should succeed with the list of partners. This is what the chairman said during his speech, and I thought that this was a splendid speech. So the sponsor, the line that sponsor gives and the PV that sponsor gives, it's not important. But through the list of partners that you make, you should succeed through that. I think this is what resonates with many in this room. So with the sponsor list, nobody can succeed. With those few sponsor lists, you won't succeed. But based on the experience, if you have a heart to succeed with the partner list, I am confident that everybody will succeed under the name of ATOMY. And now, Emperor Master, for about 2 hours, we talked about the clone-less speech. I think this was just like a revival meeting. Let's give a big hand to the chairman who has blessed us with his words. So inside his lecture, abundant love has been depicted. He managed the system, and he is craving for more and is enthusiastic. So this theme about relationship problems, wanting to give up that relationship. This is what I think. Well, for about a month, I had a big problem with the enteritis. As I was suffering from the enteritis, I thought that would be a bigger problem. But however, from today, after surgery, I am having a regular diet. I think all lies in prevention. All focus should lie in the prevention. So in order to succeed fast, we have to abstract time or cut the time. If it takes 1 year, if we meet 1 person per day, if we meet 2 persons per day, we can have the time. And well, I have an experience of working in a company, and also a big company which makes 6 lines, 7 lines. So I think making 2 lines is nothing. That's why what I'm saying, make 2 lines with 2 people, partners. So make 6 lines was what they said in the past company. It was very easy, but does it look easy to you? Because, you know, I was making 10 lines, 12 lines, but ATOMY, coming to ATOMY, making 2 lines, I thought it was easy peasy, but there's a lot of people who are complaining in ATOMY that making even 2 lines is very difficult. So we should know that we're all independent business owners. We should not lean on to the sponsors to succeed. You should not depend on sponsors, but you should think of the people next to you as sponsors and help each other. So why don't you greet each other? Think of all the people next to you as sponsors and tell them that I'm not going to make you an imperial. Tell the person next to you. Well, at Zoom meeting, this is what the chairman is saying all the time. If this is possible, then I think this will all improve the relationship. So, as I was listening to chairman's lecture, he said about, enhancing the size of the dream wheel. And if we enhance make the wheel bigger, there won't be a problem. So I would like to say it like the super dream, no problem. With the dream of making 100 million, we can do everything. But we shouldn't just dream. Why will my dream be fulfilled? Because with ATOMY business, we can do everything. We can accomplish all our dreams. Why? I'm going to tell two things. Absolute quality, absolute price. Number two, it's because there's no registration fee. What do you think is the answer? Who do you think is number one? Absolute quality, absolute price. And number two, the registration fee. Wow, they're high quality audience right here. At the first business introduction meeting of ATOMY I attended, well, when I heard that our chairperson was a delinquent borrower, I gave my resignation letter to my former company, and I had a faith to join this ATOMY. And Park Dong-jeol master, who persuaded me to join ATOMY, didn't even give me one pack of hamoim. But for me, I give away the cosmetics. I've said I think everything will work as long as there's no registration fee. So if we look into the business of ATOMY, there are some bottlenecks, I think. I think people will feel a bit stuffy if they feel that there's no registration fee. Won't you go in or not? So in those meetings, if you see absolute price, absolute quality, since we emphasize on this too much, we won't have the time to emphasize or focus on the no registration fee. So I thought this was, I felt that it was a little bit stuffy. The product is very expensive. But Armway, New Skin, Harbor Life, they are about 3 to 4 times expensive than our product. But they are number 1 to 3 rank in the world. But if with expensive, no registration fee, do you think it will succeed or not? There's no answer. What do you think? They will succeed. Armway, New Skin, Harbor Life, they all succeeded. Okay? So, registration fee, without it, we can expand it to infinite. We can extend our membership to infinity. So if we keep on expanding the membership, then we will get in touch with the people that are better in speech and better in relations making, and we will have more inflows of members who are better than me. So from 6. There is a person who became a Crown Master with just 1 registration because there is no registration fee. So if we keep on expanding our membership, there will be a member joining the ATOMY who are with better capabilities. So do we have the evidence of that? What is the evidence? Well, I am not the living proof. I am a pro who have fallen 5 times during the 17 years in the multi-level marketing. Well, everything has become delinquent borrowers after working in this, but or globally, the networking marketing area has been going on for a while. But there is no company that exists with maybe, member number 1 to 10 is still there with the company.
But here we have 11 members. Why? Why? Because we don't have registration fee. Most of the delinquent borrowers could not be running their business up until now, and 6 out of 11 became Imperial Master, and 2 are Crown Masters, and 2 are Royal Masters, and 1 is Star Master. And I think they are really amazing because I started this business when there was an office at least. Never, although we need to put a lot of pots in front, underneath the roof when it rained, I was happier than the other because they started this business when there were no offices. They succeeded. But if you don't succeed, it doesn't make sense. Once again, Chairman Park, all of you need to repent. Hey, we have over 600 types of product and we have 26 branches overseas. But you are complaining? But you are having difficulties? There was a aha moment before. When I attended Auto Sales Master Seminar for the first time, Chairman Park said, from now on, if someone say that ATOMY is difficult and ATOMY is really hard, you need to rip their mouth. And that was an aha moment for us. Like, I feel really, really got everything is got off my chest. We started this business when there was no website, but we did have it. And if you don't have, you can't make money if you don't have super dream. But if you have a concrete dream, you will go crazy about it and you will be successful. How come we could be successful? We don't have the registration fee, and it will go down into the infinite levels, and there will be better person and better people than you. Once again, no registration fee could not be duplicated other companies. Although, even though we are exceeding 2 trillion in terms of the sales, no other company could duplicate us. Please make a big hand to Chairman Park once again, who made the system. The size of your confidence